All right. So we had a reading of your script of the Kitchen Sink sequel, which was a Firefly fan film. Tell us about the process. I mean, why Firefly?
Well, the producer, Jocelyn Fisher, who also happens to be my sister, came to me. It was something she'd wanted to do because she got way into the Firefly culture uh, and the brown coats and all that kind of stuff. I want to say like 7 or 8 years ago, and she decided she wanted to make a fan film, and I really uh, hadn't really done much like this before. Most of what I do is writing in theater, um, but it seemed like a cool idea, so we just sort of worked on it, and then I wrote the script, I sent it to her, and and then she dealt with film stuff. So, but this script represents a very different version of it that I wrote early on, um, because and it changed, it evolved, et cetera, et cetera. But so that's what it is.
Okay, okay. So in the creation of each character, was it like what like who were they based on? Because I don't I remember like the first few episodes of Firefly, and I know that the series kept progressing as they went. Um, so can you explain like who are the characters here? Because I'm lost.
No, I mean, well, I'll tell you, there are a couple basic inspirations for the script itself. And it was, I knew I wanted to write something that was that was female character driven, because that's very much in line with what we knew Joss Whedon to do, all the problematic stuff that's come out aside. Um, but so I knew that was the energy I wanted to bring. Secondly, I didn't want to try and do the show. I didn't want to do characters from the show, because I felt like if you try to put those characters on screen, then the first thing you're going to know when you see those characters as an audience member is that there's a different actor playing them. So I didn't want to create that disconnect to attempt to have to jump over. So I wanted it to be its own isolated story. And then the third thing was, I felt like for it to matter, it had to be a story that functioned in a way that if this story didn't happen, Firefly couldn't happen.
Right.
So you get like Emma, who actually turns out to be Wash's sister, the pilot sister from Firefly.
Yeah.
But that's why you get the twist at the end, with the last image on the last page being River Tam. The idea being that Emma is the one who put the information into her head, so she can eventually, when we get to Serenity, uh, begin to puncture holes the in the Alliance and what they do, and the sort of big bad role they serve in the Firefly universe.
Okay. Okay. I know that you brought in the character Began, basically the guy that holds the virus or is the virus, I suppose. Um, Within that process, like I guess what where in the timeline is that in?
I think this is it's it's obviously before the series happens, but it's after all the stuff with the war between the outer planets and the Alliance. So it's sort of threading that needle in there.
Okay. Okay.
Like, you know, if I were to build it out, we would probably get specific so that we knew when and where that was happening, but it's somewhere in there. Originally, there was going to be a tie-in to the Mr. Universe character in the film as well, but that sort of you know, you start taking the hatchet to your work, and that ended up on the floor.
Okay. Okay. I knew that you were using the Chinese cursings, you know, here and there as what, you know, Firefly is known for, and a lot of our actors had a hard time, obviously. Apart from Go Ram, oh, is this were these curses directly used on the show, or did you just find them? Because I'm like looking at it, and it says, you know, like, you know, a woman, like, what was it, a female goat's penis or something?
I no, the process basically was uh you know, figuring out what I wanted to say. I did not go to the show. I did not pull it out of the show.
Okay.
I tried to be more creative with the, or sorry, what I should say is I tried to be specifically inventive unto myself as to what the curses were, and then go and try and find the as correct language translation as possible.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Because I was like, I'm okay. I have Chinese relatives, and I've never heard any of those curses. And I know Chinese people. They do actually curse in like a full sentence or a full phrase. It's never just one word, unless it's like mo wo, you know, and that's Cantonese for just saying oh no. But like I know that this series is actually they take liberties and try to bring up this weird culture between like East and West. So like you couldn't really have a real Chinese like cultural appropriation in the show. I mean, like I've even had like I've seen Chinese translators try to actually, you know, translate "go rom," and they're like, "There's no such phrase. There's no word for that. It's just it's supposed to be goddamn, but in oh is this you know Chinglish, Chinglish, you know, basically, you know, it's like saying hello, you know, I want to have a real plate, you know, in front of me, you know, like just it sounds like a Chinese person trying to speak English kind of deal. So that's why I had to ask. I had to ask. So lovely liberties, to be honest. It's the perfect show to do it. So being that, are you deciding to actually write more?
well, the last idea I had was to actually do a podcast next that were dispatches from a reporter on the rim trying to figure out the connections.
Yeah.
And because the idea was that Began as computer ends up being the nugget off of which Mr. Universe is able to build his system.
Yeah.
But that's I haven't thought about it yet all that much, because I've been pulled into writing a bunch of other stuff since then. So stuff where people are saying, "Hey, we will produce this." So I'm like,
nice, very nice. Congratulations. Um, Funny thing, like there was a fan film of Firefly that we actually just awarded today this afternoon, called Shadows on the Wind. Are you familiar with it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you part of it?
Yes.
Okay, because like it's the exact same characters. I'm like, wait, hold on. So I'm sorry, like I'm going through like 1,000 names throughout this whole festival,
Mhm.
and so like I'm just trying to actually please the nominated. So I'm like, wait, yeah. So well done, well done. It was a beautiful piece of work. A lot of fan filmmakers were actually intimidated. Like it was so funny because it was this one fan film, Fable Town, and it's just amazingly directed, like with an amazing cast, fantastically written, and they were sweating in their boots because we had more people that knew what Firefly was in the judging circle. Okay, all the judges, they knew Firefly, they like knew it, but no one knew what Fable was. So they didn't think twice about it, and obviously, like this fan film awards festival, it's ran by a bunch of fanboys. So um, fantastic choice in fandom. I will actually let you know right now. um,
No,
but
it's
yeah,
nice to see that people aren't letting Firefly go. That I mean, what we basically have 13 episodes, a script, and the movie, and then the
yeah,
comics. And
and
I feel like there's still, constant whisperings on the edges about reboots and things like that. So,
yeah, it's basically the sci-fi Seinfeld. All right, all right. Well, thank you so much, sir. If you have any more further comments or words of encouragement, I would love to hear it.
I mean, I really appreciate that uh, that your organization is giving voice to this kind of work because it's, I mean, like I said earlier, I work primarily in theater, and theater and film, I'm sure, walk that same line where you're lucky if you can be employed, and you're lucky if you can have work, and you're lucky if you can create something. So the opportunity to get noticed and get your work heard and talked about, and being able to interface like this is extremely valuable, and we certainly appreciate it. So
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're happy to be of service. Fan fiction is just another venue for creativity, and we're very happy that a lot of good quality comes out of fan films. So yeah, I wish there were more playwrights in the fandom. Oh, is this like circuit? I've tried to open up stage plays for it, but to be quite honest, I am like having the hardest time trying to actually encourage, theater people to actually do, you know, fan projects.
mhm.
So I don't know. I guess the closest they will ever get is like, or like, half naked cosplayers, and we'll just have to like, it'll do.
People still don't want to admit that genre fiction is a thing, like
Yeah,
there's still a a stigma around it. But I mean, what is the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe other than fan fiction with a really big budget?
yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I could definitely agree to that. I actually got to meet the what's it called? The concept designer for Doctor Strange. Yeah, he it was like a weird Filipino meetup for like cultural, reasons. Um, I'm a coconut, so that's kind of a weird thing for me. But yeah, he just he was literally just doing it to pay bills, and he's, in his head, he was just making artwork for a really nice comic book, you know. I'm like, I will choke you, sir. How dare you?
And I've heard the opposite too. I've heard comic books described as the cheapest way to make a film.
So. Oh, I'm like ready to like throw tables here. My God. Okay. You have activated my nerd rage. Okay. So thank you, sir.